Thank you for this hysterically funny show. Do you want to just quickly just go down and say your first names for everybody? So that we're normal.
I'm Jordan.
I'm Nancy.
I'm Pippa.
Richard.
Emily.
Dominic. Lucas.
Emma.
Travis.
Tracy. Nina. I'm Micah.
I'm Victor. Oh wait, no, sorry, I'm Lucas.
Okay. Do you want to maybe explain that to me later? Made a mistake and called it by the wrong name on camera one day. Okay. You guys, thank you for that quite brave and emotional work. It was really stressful. Were you guys stressed out? I was really stressed out watching the show. It's rare, I think, when you come to a show that there's such stillness in the house. And like, I looked around and so many people were, their bodies were forward and just still. Really amazing piece to see the day after really apathetic showing at an election in our province. I'm curious to know from you guys, anybody can answer this, how working on this piece affected your idea of whether change is possible? You could ruminate.
I have something, but I think Tracy, or not, I think Nancy would have a good answer.
I would hope that if there were some of you out there that didn't vote yesterday, maybe next time there is an election, you will vote after seeing this piece. There are people that are dying all over the world right now just for their right to vote, and they're losing their life, and we can't get out to the polls. And so I feel that this piece, it's so beautifully written, and its theater is social change, and I do believe that with the audience that we have here for the 5 nights that we're performing, I do believe that there will be a change and that more people will go to the polls next time. And so even if just one person can go to the polls, then we have changed someone.
And this isn't like a story that, this isn't like based on something that happened 50, 60, like 100 years ago. This is like something that happened very recently, like in our lifetimes, even as close as 4 years ago. So based on sort of events. So it's not like it's something in the history books. It's something that's happening now, even.
So do you think real change is possible?
Yeah. If you fight for it.
Yeah.
So to add immense humor to this right now, before coming to see the show, I was standing outside by the box office with my friend, and we were looking at our sandwich board, and he said, "Oh, Sea of Green, that's like when the Green Party wins the election, right?" And I just thought,
That would be
like, it's possible, but is that going to happen in our lifetimes? Is the Green Party going to be in charge of BC? Is it going to be in charge of Canada? No.
Well, like, how long does real change take?
There's always change. It's a constant state. I don't think we're ever going to get somewhere and be like, okay, let's stop. Like, I think it's something you have to constantly work for to make society better, to make yourself better, to make affect people around you better. I don't think it's something that you can achieve. It's not an end point. It's a state of being.
I have a specific question for you, Emma, because I'm not surprised, I was speaking with your mother yesterday, and she told me that you asked how come, you're 16, right? You're turning 16, Emma's just 16, guys. That you asked how come you couldn't vote. And I would like to know from you why you want to vote.
Well, it affects the youth just as much as it affects people who are over age. It affects us just as much. It's not like when we become 18, we start obeying the law. We obey the law from when we're born. So it affects us just as much, and we should have the right to vote, I think.
Starting when?
Maybe Well, I think 16. 16 is a good year.
And do you think if 16-year-olds could vote, they would turn out in high numbers? Like, what does it feel like to you? And you probably run in kind of a special community, right? Because you're in the arts and whatever. But
I think the 16-year-olds who would go out to vote would help the change and have an impact. And I think when you think of teenagers and the ones that you wouldn't want, controlling your outcome, those are the ones who aren't going to vote. So we're okay there.
I hope that.
Sure though?
Yeah.
You sure?
I wonder about that. You guys, I don't normally do this in the talkbacks, but it was such an intense piece, and I think maybe you guys all had interesting experiences too. I just wondered quickly if there is anybody who has anything they want to say to these guys, or has any questions for them. It's okay if you don't. No? Yeah, I see little flickers of them. No, it's okay. Okay. This was really brave work, and I'm like, from the writing and the directing and everything, I'm so happy to see people producing theater that matters. And I wonder, from any of you, did it change any of you? Did it bring any of you into a more active place?
I think for me, I was like this close to not voting because I was finishing up the sandwich board for the play. And I was like, I was working so hard because I felt like I would be so racked with guilt after being a part of this production and not voting, because it's like, it's made me realize that it's such like a basic, simple thing you gotta do. And I did it in 10 minutes and it was over. And I was like, yes, I did my part. But like, I don't know, I can see myself, like honestly, like a year ago, being in that situation, being stressed out and like rushing and then deciding to take the other 10 minutes to myself. But this process has made me realize that that's selfish, and it's like I have the responsibility to go out.
Yeah, I feel similarly. I feel that something particularly our generation struggles with is apathy. I feel like we're lazy, and I feel like we don't exercise those rights. So, I mean, even if you're going to go and cast the non-vote, at least you've done something, and then you can actually complain or be excited about when something happens because you contributed to it.
Where do you think the apathy comes from? Anybody?
Privilege.
I would say, just back to your question about how this has changed us, and if anything, it's made me a lot more grateful to have a democracy and to have freedom.
Just to say things, right?
Yeah.
I think what has changed for me is during rehearsals there were certain lines that I was hoping, like we knew this was coming out the day of the election, that there were certain lines I was hoping were going to resonate, like that something was going to build to our thing, like the president. Like imagine if we were here right now and the main controversy was the president sought to keep our vote from counting, like, and then we'd really be. But now it turns out it's don't let there be silence, That's really good,
Yeah. Just show. Laurie Anderson has a great song with a recurring phrase in it is, "Your silence will be considered your consent." And, yeah, that's affected me a lot for a long time. You guys, it's just a quick talk back, so I think we're going to wrap it up there. Some of you probably have to get to the 8:30 show. So thank you for being here, and thank you guys very much for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks.